Hey, I got a quick question.
Yeah, what up?
From a civilian to a cop. My name's Dan.
I'm Jake from State Farm. I'm a farmer.
Pleasure to meet you,
doubles
sir.
as a cop some days.
If you don't mind, we're in public. I'm recording.
Oh, okay,
I just
cool.
want to get your opinion on one thing. Do you guys miss arresting people for just the smallest amount of marijuana now that it's legal, or somewhat legal?
You know, back when I was like doing a lot of traffic stops, I was working over in the UCF area.
Yeah.
And we used it, the smell of marijuana in a vehicle. A lot of times we use that as our probable cause to search.
Right.
Usually, if it was just a very small amount of marijuana, we would submit it for destruction, and we'd make fun of whoever had it, kind of a thing. Like
you're like, you're smoking this, you got more problems than me.
Oh yeah, no.
You're like, that's
I
crazy.
distinctly remember pulling over this car, had these two young college kids, freshmen at UCF,
Yeah.
and I pulled them over, and I could smell it in their car. And I'm like, all right, who's got the weed? And they go, oh, we do, sir, right here. They hand me this dime bag, and in the dime bag, I swear, it was like a little bit of like shake,
And 10
then
seeds.
10 seeds and sand. There was sand.
Oh
in
my
them.
God. Yeah.
And I said, dude.
Yeah.
Let me guess, your dealer is your best friend, right? And he goes, yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Good buddy.
I'm like, dude, you need a new friend. I'm the coolest? What about this guy?
I'm cool too.
Oh, that's super cool.
Nice.
You're going to be the next cop in this community here? Gotta represent.
Logan's out. No, so I just wanted to get a quick opinion on, like, do you miss it? Like, you have to, like, do you feel bad? Like, I wish I could have got that guy under arrest.
Oh, like they're a bad dude and I know them from the street.
No. Just some good dude with a little bit of weed. You can handcuff him. Back in the day, you could handcuff him and take him to jail.
I mean, even still, we can still do that. It's still illegal by the Florida statute.
I know, but if they have a med card. If you got a med card,
okay.
it's in their center console, they're not smoking it, But before the med card was legal,
Sure.
in the center console, that's a no-no.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, do you miss that? Do you miss those kinds of arrests?
I didn't do very many of those type of
Okay.
arrests.
That's all I wanted.
My type of policing, so I grew up down in South Orlando, had only bad experiences with the police my whole childhood.
Really?
Grew up hating the police and watching watching the Andy Griffith Show.
Okay.
And so I had this idea that police must be misunderstood. There's got to just be something, there's got to just be some generational disconnect or something.
It them cute assholes.
Well, exactly. And then I got older and I was working road construction for about 9 years. And a friend of mine and I were sitting down talking and I said, man, like the pay was good in road construction, running a crew and stuff.
$20-30 an hour, I get it.
Yeah. Like, and back then that was a lot of money,
Absolutely.
And I
probably
said,
50-60 now.
But I felt like I was called to something and I was missing the boat. And I sat down with a friend, and he convinced me to become a cop. And I was like, dude,
shit.
not doing it, man. I hate the police.
Really? That's interesting to hear you say that.
And
okay, go ahead.
I literally walked into the sheriff's office. First, I put in a pre-application to OPD. They flat out turned me down. I said, that's okay. So I walked into the sheriff's office down here at the operations headquarters, and I said, I'd like to be one cop, please. And they said, oh, do you have family that's in law enforcement? I was like, nope. I know one cop, and I really dislike him, but I'd like to become a cop. And so they literally started me on the paperwork, and 9 years later, here I am. I love the job.
Nice.
I really do.
And so you had to go through the 6 months of training?
I went through the police academy at Valencia, and then I went through the FTO program and all of that stuff. And
Like a good cop.
I love the job. 9 years in, I love it.
Jake seems like a very personable person, friendly fella.
Well, I
just wanted to get your opinion on the drug war, the war on drugs, and there's certain things you can't do anymore, regarding enforcement,
I look at the marijuana issue as possibly a degradation of moral values in society, but probably not something that could be fixed by law enforcement. If that makes sense.
It does. I don't think drugs
I would not
addiction
personally
can be
use
fixed by laws.
marijuana, but if I had a debilitating condition, I look at that versus taking opiates or something like that.
Opiates are horrible.
One of my neighbors, he has a debilitating spine condition, and he uses marijuana, and it has kept him off of opiate drugs. And I mean, it's gotten worse and progressively worse. That's what the disease is. But he has managed to stay, because he said, what am I going to do if I get hooked on these opiates and then I get better? you know, what if I heal, and then I'm addicted to these things? I end up out on
And
the
that
street.
happens.
It's
that
a very
happens.
prevalent issue. So, you know, even with the controls they have in place now for these opiate drugs, it's a risky thing to start taking those drugs. I broke my wrist, and they gave me a 50 pack of OCSO.
Oh, man.
And I took, I think, 3 of them. My doctor told me, do not take any more than you absolutely have to. And I tell you, taking those drugs was an eye-opening experience.
It's horrible. Those oxycodones are a great painkiller, and they work. But I've had decades of back pain and a couple back surgeries, major surgeries, and I'm finally through with that pain. But those opioids, man, especially the oxy, the doctors push it.
Sure, yeah.
They push it and push it and push it. And since my surgeries, I've had other back problems, and they're like, Oxycontin. I'm like, no. I'm familiar with Vicodin. I can take a Vicodin and still hold a fucking conversation.
Right.
You know? Instead of just being a freaking zombie, man, that Oxycontin. And the next morning, I feel all knocked out. It's like narcotics, like, in my blood.
It's a dangerous thing.
It's awful.
Sometimes it's necessary, but if you can avoid it.
Yeah, I'm so glad I survived.
Under that condition, I wouldn't take marijuana as a recreational product, even if it was allowed with the sheriff's office. I have a moral opposition, just like I have a moral opposition to drinking to the point of being drunk.
I don't think it's immoral, but in my opinion, you know. But I've been smoking weed for over 30 years.
Okay, so you're an advocate of so you're on the legalize it.
Well, not so much an advocate, but yes, I'm against the drug war because the war on drugs, I think, ruins more lives than the drugs themselves. You know,
I probably can't officially make a statement on that, but from a personal standpoint, from what I've seen in life, I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, I just think the war on drugs puts more people behind bars and locks them in a cage.
Sure.
When there's no victim.
Well, you hear about these situations where a guy gets stopped with a personal use amount of marijuana, but he had a strike rule and he ends up doing life in prison.
California's like that.
I've heard of these stories, and it's mind-boggling.
Awful. Yeah.
I haven't personally experienced that, but I've heard those stories, and that just seems.
Folks, this is Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm.
Orange County?
Orange County Sheriff's Office. Yep.
I'm going to end the video and then continue talking to him, but thank you, Jake.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out.
And
Can you say that again?
So I'm a huge advocate for the First Amendment auditor movement. I think that oversight for all levels of government is crucial. I mean, and sheriff's offices, a lot of them do recommend this stuff. Personally, me and squad members of mine, we actually train by watching Audit the Audit. I watch every video they put out. James Madison Audit.
Yep.
That's a local community one. It's Central Florida based.
Yep.
And to be able to watch those videos and learn from the mistakes of others, or, you know, a lot of the time Audit the Audit and James Madison Audit are showing, look at this police officer doing the right thing. You know, that's what the community needs, is an open view of law enforcement officers in action. And when you have that out on YouTube, and me and my squad mates can go and watch that, I mean, that's the best learning tool there is.
It's not always about trying to catch cops doing the wrong thing.
No, it's providing oversight.
It's oversight and it's transparency, and if they're doing the right thing, those videos are always included unedited also.
Sure.
And with commentary. I'm not an auditor myself. I'm just a freedom exposer, you know, and what do you call it? When there's no freedom, tyranny exposure.
Sure.
I expose tyranny and I expose freedom.
Sure. I think any deputy sheriff that's here at this event would share those views with you. You know, the sheriff's office, even when I was in training, it was always viewed as, we're a peacekeeping mission. This is our goal. You know, we serve the community. We're not looking to control people. We're not looking at ourselves as better or a controlling force. We work side by side with the community to squash issues.
I appreciate that. That's good to hear, man.
And, you know, again, that falls in line with my upbringing.